Hi everyone, this is Sharon, and this is take two. I thought I had my camera rolling the first time around, but apparently not. So today I have this journal flip through for you. It's a custom requested journal for Susie. She pretty much gave me free rein to create whatever I wanted, so it's a very eclectic mix of things. What I did on the front was I have this little piece of jewelry to adorn the ribbon. And I tied it up with this sari silk ribbon. It's kind of a smoky blue color with a little bit of a deep kind of rosy pink pinstripe. And I thought that went nicely with the spine fabric that I have picked out. So I'm going to untie that. I wrapped it around quite a few times, so she's got a nice length of ribbon. And then in there, I just tucked a couple of these vintage postcards. Some pretty countryside scenes. This man on the bench, I love that. So for the cover of this journal, I chose this kind of chocolate brown cover. It's got some beautiful embossing on it. I've had it set aside for Susie for a while because I thought she would appreciate it. So I had the front cover and the back cover. The spine came along with it, but it was unattached and in really bad shape. So I did not use that. I recreated my own spine. This is about 2.5 inches deep. And I covered it with this beautiful, beautiful upholstery fabric that I got from Rachel at Roxy Creations. I've had it sitting on a stack of old books in my craft room for, I think, well over a year, just right where I can keep an eye on it, and decided it was time to take it down and use it somewhere. So I just love the colors in that. Heading on inside, I used some ruby and pearl images for the front and back covers, these beautiful old ledger images. That one and this one. And then for my spine, inside spine, I used this pretty blue and cream fabric. As far as digitals go, I used primarily, I would say, Chapter 1 papers. And then I also have mixed in some ruby and pearl and Luna Rosu. So on this first page, I've got this cluster here with some old papers, book parts, this beautiful old leather piece from an old French tome. I think it looked like it had been burned at one time, possibly. Here I created this pinstripe pocket with this label. And then in there, I tucked in this faux calling card that I made and just added this ribbon. And then here is a beautiful old French piece of correspondence. It's got this nice label on there. And then inside, I think it's an invoice. It's got a nice header to it. And that is dated 1876. On this side of the page, I tucked in this vintage envelope. Did some collaging on the back side, a little bit of stitching. And then in there, I just tucked this botanical book page so that comes through the window. It's got this pretty green lining on the inside. I used some pages from an old French ledger. And then here on this side, I've got a little side tuck, and in there I've got this antique postcard and this pretty old either invoice or receipt. It looks like a check. Here on this page, I just embellished with some old ticking and lace for my tab. And then on this side of the tab, I just added a button. On this page, this center page is made from an old atlas book page. And I just created this little kind of folder item, room to write on the back side. Some pretty images. And then in there, I just tucked this waxed piece. Some pretty old furniture on there. In the center of the signature, I created some pockets by folding the paper up and then to the side and embellished with some lace, a little cluster down there. And then in those pockets, I've got a couple of large tags that I made. Love this image. Just added some sari trim on the top for the tab. Love the chairs on the back side. And then on this side, I've got this lady peeking out. And then she's got her own set of dining chairs. Here on the side of the page, I did some stenciling with paste. And then here, this flaps out. And then in there, I've got a little journaling spot with some writing room on the inside. Here I embellished the page with some embossed craft paper, and then I just added a little bit of lace trim on there. And then over here on this side of the page, I made this tag. I love this lady, her beautiful headdress. And for this French ledger or calendar page, I chose one that has a significant date for Susie. And then on this side of the page, I've got this beautiful gauzy lace piece and another old antique lace piece on top. And I just pinned those down with this hat pin. And then on this side of the page, where the pin comes through, I thought I would just string a couple of small beads on there. Here, my journal page, I used a book page from a vintage book on Paris. And then I tucked on there, or clipped on this piece of vintage French wallpaper. It's really thin. And then I also added this little strip. It's a paint chip sample. And I just did some coffee dyeing on there and embossed it to give some interest. And then on this side, I've got a flip out. I'll show you the page. And then in there, I've got some really neat old items. I've got this French menu. It's on this embossed cardstock, really heavy, nice. I was going to look up to see what they had for dinner, but I didn't get a chance before I started rolling. And then I've got this vintage envelope, really pretty. I just tucked in a couple of old portraits of these ladies. On this side of the page, I just embellished with a fabric ruffle. And then on this page, I created a top tuck with this lacy kind of doily piece. And then I just added another layer of lace over the top of that. And then in there, I tucked, this is an old Italian book page. Looks like it came from maybe a history book or an old encyclopedia type book. And then I inserted this little journaling card. This center page is created from these plates that I think they were in book form, but they're images of old New York. And what I did was, because they were so wide, I folded them over and then I just added a couple of tabs in the center and then a rusty paper clip on each side with this string to hold them together. And it kind of keeps everything tucked in there. And then so to open that up, I just remove one of the paper clips and then you can see all of the images on the inside. And in here, I just tucked a couple of journaling cards that I made with these pretty floral images. And this one. Here I've got another pretty top tuck with this doily piece. And then in there, that's what the page looks like. I've got this most beautiful receipt. Really nicely embellished, beautiful handwriting. And then they even had this kind of ledger or record keeping on the back side. I just love that. And in that piece, I tucked this. It's kind of a little mini envelope sort of thing. And in there I've got this journaling card I made. On this page, I just added a little bit of punched paper and this rayon seam binding and a vintage button. And then over here is the other side of that French book page. And I've clipped on there. I've got this kind of little holder again that I made, and I lined that with some pretty old wallpaper looking image. And then this is the outside. Some old lace that I tucked on there in a label. So that kind of holds these pieces. So I've got another old wallpaper image from Ruby and Pearl, just beautiful. And I embellished that piece with a little bit of stenciling. And then that's tucked in this floral catalog page. And I just kept that plain for a lot of journaling space on the back. Journaling, doodling, whatever you would like to do. And then here's the other side of that pretty page. This page, I have this little tuck spot of this girl, and I just adhered her down with this beautiful washi tape from Lace Boutique 1. And this page comes also from Anna at Lace Boutique 1, this digital page. And then I just tucked in this playing card, and I decoupaged this Tim Holtz tissue paper on the back. And this I just embellished with a little bit of lace on there. I think you can see that. Here I created this shallow pocket, and in there I have a couple of journaling cards of these lovely ladies. This page is some beautiful old ledger paper in French from 1927. And then here I've got a very shallow side tuck. And in there I've got this piece of ephemera from, looks like 1778. And then I just took this brad and clipped together these papers, placed to write on the back. Here on this book page, I just created this tuck with this beautiful fabric image. And then in there, I've got what I'm calling a lace sampler card. I took some index cards and just decorated this front, and then have my lace sample piece on the back, this flap on the top. And then I just added a laundry label on the side. In the center is this pretty beautiful image. Looks like some dignitaries traveling to India. And I just embellished that a little bit with these medallions on the top and added a little bit of, looks like crocheted lace on there. Got some beads on my signature strings. And on this side, I've got another tuck with another lace sampler. It's the front and then the back. Some beautiful old lace I got from my sister-in-law. Here, another, I love all the bouquets and floral images, mostly from Chapter 1 papers. And then here I just embellished with a little bit of that seam binding and just layered a little bit of book page underneath that. On this side of the page, I've got another flip out, that beautiful ledger paper. And then in there I tucked this nice image from a French book. And I also have this vintage postcard. Here I've got another shallow tuck, and in there I've got this postcard from Prague and this little book page sheet, Italian book page. Here I just have this little corner tuck with this beautiful swan image, and then in there I've got a small tag, just embellished with a little bit of lace on top. This page is an old antique piece of French music paper. And then around that, I clipped this old envelope. So I folded the envelope. It was a little too wide. I created this flap, did some stamping on there, and then I sewed around my window on this side, and then inside the stitching on this side, I just put this pretty image. And then here I inserted a piece of lace behind the window before I stitched it. And then I just closed the whole thing, so there's nothing that you can slip inside. I just have this little tuck spot here that you could use for tucking something. Down in this pocket, I've got this beautiful letter from Luna Rosu. Love that handwriting, and she's got some soft pinks and purples in there. Place to write on the back. In this pocket, I've got a beautiful piece of French notebook paper with some nice handwriting on it. And then I've also got this trifold that can be used as a writing spot. I guess it's more than trifold. That's my flap. Fold that over. And then at the bottom of the page, I took a piece of paper that matched the belly band here and just created a little tab there to kind of hold the papers in, and added a full button. This page is a page from a French embroidery book that I have. And on my strings, I just added a little bit of sari ribbon here. And then here I created this policy envelope that's actually part of the page. So if I open that up, you can see that this flap's open. It's gusseted, so you can get a lot of things in there if you'd like. I've got a couple of pieces of ephemera in there right now, but it's all attached to the page. And then this is the other side of that embroidery book page. I just love that really pale kind of pinky image. And I just embellished that with this beautiful design. This is from Carol Cuts. And then on this page, I just added another panel of that beautiful old lace. Here I created a side tuck with a piece of vellum. And then that's what the page looks like. And then I just have this little journaling card with a pocket. These are all Carol Cuts images on these two sides, including these little tags in here. This is Roxy Creations label. This is a little flip out I adorned with some nice, beautiful old lace. And then I've got this lace pocket that I just added a couple of full buttons to. And then in there I've got another couple of neat old pieces of ephemera, this French calling card, and then this tin type of this lady. I just gave her a little flower. This page I embellished a little bit, added this metallic punched paper, and then here I've got a velvet tab at the top. And then on this side of the page, this beautiful floral design. And then I've got this antique invoice copy from 1905. I just used that to tuck in this little piece of ephemera that I made. It's like a little mini folder. I've just got some ledger paper in there and another little journaling card. Here I used a double page from a French notebook, some nice old handwriting from 1925. And so I just folded the top layer back to create this pocket and added a label to keep it open. And then in there I tucked this rather large tag that I made. So here I've got some dotted sari ribbon at the top. And then I added another panel of that paint chip piece that I embossed. That's the back. I added one of my vintage stamps. On this side of the page, I added this corner of the handkerchief that has the S on for Susie. I just did a little bit of slow stitching around the edge. And then down here I have this cluster with the bird. Here on this flip, I've got this little piece. Now this, I believe I saw from Pink Monarch Papers. She had a little tutorial, and I thought it was the cutest idea. It looks like a policy envelope, and it ties up with some string and this button closure. So I just wrapped the string around top to bottom a few times, and I also added this ribbon behind the button. So it's got this flap, and it looks like an envelope, but it actually folds out to the side several times. You've got all this space for journaling, tucking things, could create some pockets to put things in there. And then this is what it looks like on this side. Get my long string out. Okay. Here I just embellished this beautiful page with this piece of lace at the bottom. This is a page from a botanical book that I have. Oops. It's my center page. I'll just pull these off. So this is what that image looks like. And I just did a little embellishing with a piece of linen that I stamped. And then on there I clipped this little journaling card that I made. Love this pair of old shoes. And I just covered that with this piece of dotted tulle. Just stitched that on. That's the back. And then I also clipped on this old Italian book page. On the sides of these pages, I just, they were a little bit too wide, so I punched the edge and just folded that in. This page, I have this old French ephemera piece. Let's see if there's a date on that, 1914. And in there, I just tucked this little journaling card. Beautiful bouquet, and I backed that with this eco-dyed linen fabric. Here I created kind of a mini belly band from this image of the, looks like a ribbon of some sort or trim. And then I just added a full button. And in there, I've got a couple of little journaling cards. On this side of the page, I taped on a pressed rose from my yard. And here I've got another one of those pockets that I just kind of folded back from the book page. And I inserted this tag with this nice big floofy bow on top. And then on this page, I just did a little embellishing with this beautiful old ribbon and cheesecloth and a wax seal. And that brings us to the last page, which I just embellished with a little bit of lace. Hopefully my camera is still rolling. So I hope you enjoy your new journal, Susie, and I really thank everyone else for coming along with me today. Until next time, bye-bye.